On our bench today, we have a Samsung S21 Plus. We usually don't do too many of these phone repairs like this. We're doing other board level repairs, charging ports on laptops and all kinds of medical equipment, etc. Today, though, we've got this phone that was repaired. It's a police officer's phone. It was repaired in another town. He's having issues. He said he bought a new screen, but they couldn't get his cellular to work. And so he was going to have to send it to Samsung is what they told him. And he said, no, I don't want to send it to Samsung. I need this phone. So we went to work on it. And come to find out, here's the problem he was having with his connection and why it wasn't connecting to the cellular. Your charging port down at the bottom has your SIM card built into it. Right there, you can see your SIM tray is built into the charging port on this S21 Plus. And the problem that he had here is they were thinking it was all these little pads on the bottom of the new frame, because this frame comes complete with the screen, the LCD digitizer, and that's how they come. Some people buy them, they're aftermarket, some are OEM grade, but whatever it is, when they come there, some of the parts may already be installed. For instance, like this flex assembly for the power, it's already installed with the new frame. You'll get this camera that comes in here for the front-facing camera. That one's always, or a lot of models already have that installed. They'll have the Taptic device, you know, the little vibrator there. And then this particular one had this little antenna flex. And it was already built into this when he bought it. It was screwed in and all done. You didn't have to add that piece. That's why he was not getting it, because he was telling him, look, I was getting my cellular before I brought this in for the repair. You could hear it ring, it just didn't have a picture. So anyways, they just left this in there. I went ahead and tested everything for him, and I told him, I said, it looks like you're getting all the points here are making contact with the bottom of your board. I said, but then there's a flex assembly, a flex cable that comes up and interfaces with the main board, two different places on that particular phone. I said, but here's this little device here, and I asked the guy, did he change this out? He goes, I don't think he did, because the screen came with one. So we went ahead and took his original frame he got from the guy, and they left the screen in the new phone. So we went ahead and changed out his original part. And this part was what was defective. There's a little chipset on the end there that you can see, and for some reason that chipset was not working for him. It wasn't giving him any cellular. As soon as we replaced this, it started functioning. So I always recommend on these Samsung phones, if you get one with the frame and everything complete and you're just changing out all the internal components, make sure you replace these kinds of parts with the original parts that came with the person's phone and this camera. A lot of times this camera can be attached to some kind of an app, and when you remove it and you put the new one that came with the frame in there, it may not recognize that camera. And a lot of people have a lot of problems with those. If you go back to the original camera, then it works. I don't know why that is. Sometimes you have to go do software rebuilds on there, you know, where you completely restore the phone. It's ridiculous. Just use the same part that came with his phone. They're kind of glued in with some B7000, but you can just kind of remove that out with a little small needle or something, take this back out and reuse his camera, and then just put some more B7000 back in around it, just to kind of keep that camera from vibrating around. Other than that, I think you'd be okay. One thing I did want to point out was with these charging ports, they bought a charging port thinking his other one was damaged, and they ended up getting an international version, so it was missing one of the grounding pegs that go right here in the back and makes contact with these three pads. His only had two, and so his original one had three. And then there's probably some chipsets on here that may be different as well. I don't know. I haven't researched that enough to know. But again, we went back to his original charging port, and it worked fine. But there is an interface right here with a sub that goes here and then back to the main, and a sub here that goes back to the main. And that's probably what's sending your cellular up to the front of the main board. And then, of course, then at that point, you've got this antenna that's going to give you the grounding to the frame for your antenna. Anyways, I hope that helps somebody today. Just be careful to install all the parts that came with your original customer's phone, because most generally when these screens break, I've seen it's usually just the display and all the other components inside are still working. They're getting calls, they're able to do all that. They're just not able to see the screen. So anyways, go back to the original parts and see if you can help them out. I hope this was helpful to someone. If you have any questions, you can always leave comments down below.